Peace and blessings, and good evening, and welcome to another edition of King Talk Tuesday. I'm your host, Handy King, the show with real views, real news, and real talk. We cover so many topics, whether it's education, healthcare, economics, more importantly, spirituality. But we cover so many things when it comes to King Talk Tuesday. I look forward to you joining us for more inspiring conversations every week. King Talk Tuesdays is streaming live on Facebook as well as our YouTube channel every Tuesday at 8 p.m. We also air every Thursday on BronxNet Television Channel 70 as well as Optimal Files Channel 2136. We're streaming on a number of streaming services such as Roku TV, Amazon Prime, Prime Millennium, Millennium TV 24, and Clash TV. I want to encourage all our viewers to continue to subscribe our YouTube channel and get more of King Talk Tuesday so you don't miss an episode. You can also check all your local listings to see more of our King Talk Tuesday shows in the past as well. You know what I always say, right? People pay attention to people who participate. So tell a friend, tell a neighbor. King Talk Tuesday is airing right now. They can leave a comment or thought on our Facebook page or our YouTube channel, or they can just email us at kingtalktuesdays@gmail.com. Again, our email address is kingtalktuesday@gmail.com. We'll be right back on King Talk Tuesday right after the message from our friends from Therodynamics.
Welcome to Therodynamics, where we get you back to life. We offer physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy. We accept all major insurances. Don't worry about an appointment. At Therodynamics, walk-ins are accepted. We have locations in the Bronx, Manhattan, Queens, and New Jersey. Our therapists, combined with our cutting-edge technology, will get you back to life. Visit our website at www.therodynamics.com for locations, services, and more.
Revolution of hip hop. Bronx Terminal Market. 610 Exterior Street. Bronx, New York. Tuesday through Sunday. Pull up.
The Golden Era, 1986 through 1990.
Shout out to my good friend Rocky Buchanan for putting together the Hip Hop Museum here in the Boogie Down Bronx, and everybody who had a part in it, from elected leaders, from all the finance that came in, from the hip hop industry itself, because we would not have a hip hop revolution or a history to talk about it if there weren't those early pioneers like MC Shyrock and Charlie Rock and Houdini and all the whole crew who have started out with DJ Hollywood and Eddie Chibi Chiba and the crew. So we want to thank Rocky for putting this together, and we're looking forward to us learning more about our hip hop story, and more importantly, embracing and enjoying it. And for all your therapy needs, Therodynamics is the answer. For all your therapy needs, Therodynamics is your answer. For all your therapy needs, Therodynamics is the answer. You know, there's a lot of things happening going on in the world today, but you know what I really want to know? Oh, yeah. We just want to know what's going on in the world today. For the past year, myself, King Talk Tuesday, we've put something called Boys to Men, where we brought a number of men, pastors, businessmen, fraternity brothers, spiritual leaders, educators to come and sit down with our boys to help them understand the essence of being a young teenager, to growing up to be a strong young man, to be the king that he can be. So with that being said, after 3 of those, the girls were like, what happened to us, Mr. King? What are we going to do ours? So on the 17th of December, that's a Saturday, at 11 a.m. at Richard R. Green Middle School, we'll be hosting the first ever Girls to Women to help our little queens, our little princesses understand what it is to be that great queen, to be a great lady, to be a great mom, to be a great sister, a great husband, more important, a great wife, to be more importantly, to be a great queen. That's what it's all about today. So we want to make sure that you get a chance to be a part of that. You reach out to the Bronx Youth Empowerment Program or send an email to kingtalktuesdays@gmail.com for more information. That is on Saturday, September 17th at the Richard R. Green campus. Next, we want to let you know, we started something a couple of years back as a council member, something called the 12th District Ball. It gives us a time to have a night of elegance, joy, fine dining, and just get together and just have a wonderful time as neighborhood and community and family. We're looking for us all to come out as we bring it back again for 2023. January 1st, we're kicking it off at the Eastwood Manor at 7 p.m. If you want to get your tickets, you can reach out to the 12th District Ball Fund at Gmail. Again, that's the 12th District Ball Fund at gmail.com to get your tickets. They're flying off the shelves quickly. So if you're interested, the colors are green and gold. Get your gown on, get your tuxedos on, guys, on it. Get your bow tie ready. And remember, you got to tie it up yourself. It's going to be a dynamic night of food, dancing, and some entertainment. We always have a surprise musical guest, and this year we will not disappoint. Next, we want to let you know this Saturday coming up, we talk about the Bronx or we talking about Wakanda. Well, either way, we're going to get together as a neighborhood and have a free screening. The Bronx Youth Empowerment Program is hosting a free screening of Wakanda Forever at the Mall at Bay Plaza. If you have any young people, if you haven't had the opportunity to see it, please join the community in a day of fun and movie day and having a wonderful time here in Co-op City. You can reach for more information to get a ticket, Bronx Youth Empowerment Program. Actually, that's BronxYep at Gmail. The email address is bronxyep@gmail.com. And the next couple of things, first thing I'm going to get to, we've had a good lady in our neighborhood. And I loved her dearly. She used to do a lot of work. She was the president of Boston Seacorps Tenant Association, NYCHA. And she did a lot of work for decades of being a great force, not just politically, but just a great community force, a good person. And she transitioned on us. So to Emma, we say we love you and we thank you, Emma Miller. And I had a chance to have one of my last conversations with her, and it was joyful to see her. So for Emma Miller, this is for you.
What's this all about? Talk to me. It's about community, love, and respect. You enjoying yourself? Trying to. I know we're going to get full right now, huh? So you got the trade there? This is Jacob from Harlem. Okay.
That was last summer's, the last Boston Seacorps Family Day that Emma Miller put together and attend. May her family stay strong. I know she had a daughter and a son that already transitioned, so she's back with her children again. So may the Lord watch over them. And again, they're in a better space. We're down here dealing with the madness of the world while they're up in their mansions with heaven. So rest in peace. Have fun with your family again. And you would not be missed because you will always be remembered. So remember those words, everyone. When someone transitions out, they will always be remembered. Well, as we get into today's conversation, last week, there's a conversation on the table with the DOE and Richard R. Green Middle School. And what was happening is that this Richard R. Green Middle School, which I'm a proud graduate of when I went there at Olinville as a child, they were having some challenges, as so many children have been having challenges. So many school buildings have been having challenges. But as a council member and the current council, we put some money in that building, put programs in there. The chancellor came up with something called Project Pivot to help schools out, to focus kids getting turned around. A lot of energy, a lot of resources have been put into Richard Green, and I'm grateful that they've done some good work. But we've got word that someone wanted to come in and infiltrate and dismantle all the work that's been done over the past years. We're not too happy about it, but we're going to stand strong to keep our community school where it is. But we're just going to take a look at what happened last Friday with some of the people who came out to share their concerns.
Are we ready? I said, are we ready? Well, let's get this started then. Good morning, and good morning. My name is Andy King. I am the Executive Director of the Bronx Youth Empowerment Program, former New York City Council member, and a graduate of this great building here. Richard Green was once Olinville Junior High School 113. Today we are here to denounce the breakup and the relationships that have been so well established at Richard Green Middle School campus. It's a sad day when our students are being pit against students. It's a sad day when an educational system doesn't listen to the cries of its community. It's a sad day when students have to take time out of their learning environment to come out and protest because their school is not being treated fairly. So I gotta ask the question, as y'all repeat after me. Who are we? tomorrow? Who are we? North Bronx Empowerment. Who are we? New York Edge. Who are we? Our brother's keeper. Who are we? Our sister's keeper. Who are we? Bronx Yep. Who are we? Richard Green. Who are we? MS 113. You're going to hear today from all of these great students, faculties, and parents as we come out today to denounce the dismantle of our only community school here in the neighborhood that provided so many services to the residents of the Northeast Bronx here in District 11 and Council District 12. There is a conversation on the table, and I'm going to ask the principals to come up and share it. This school, for all our neighbors who are listening, this school had its challenges. This school has had its problems, but it's no different than any other academic building in the city of New York. And today, we are braving the code to talk about and tell the DOE that our success is our success. We don't need anybody else to come and tell us that we're successful. So we're saying no. We're saying no to taking away all of the community-based organizations and dismantling the city's community school. Who are we? Richard Green Middle School. Who are we? Leaders of tomorrow. Who are we? North Bronx Empowerment. Who are we? Our brother's keeper. Who are we? Our sister's keeper. Who are we? New York Edge. Who are we? World's Yep. Who are we? Richard Green. Who are we? 113. I'm going to bring up the principal of the Leaders of Tomorrow. I'm going to ask Principal Joseph Burnett to come up and say some words. Give it up for Principal Burnett.
Thank you, Andy Kidd. Thank you for coming out today, everyone. Since 1936, this school building has served the communities of Olinville and Williamsbridge. That mission is now under threat. The students of this neighborhood need the resources that are in this building that were designed for their success. Bringing another school that is not designed to serve the members of this community into this building threatens our library. It threatens our dance room. It threatens the band program that we've established. This community has come together with North Bronx School of Empowerment and Leaders of Tomorrow in partnership with New York Edge in order to transform this space, to make it a safe space for the community and students of this school. Placing another school here and not investing in the schools that are already here threatens that safety. It threatens the ability to serve this neighborhood. Having a partnership that is not community-based, that can bring students in from outside of New York City into our building and steal the resources from this community, makes everything that we've done at risk. I'm asking everyone to stand up and say, no, this is a community school. We are going to keep it a community school. Thank you all for coming today.
Save our school! 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 And I'll bring up our next speaker, who's a great partner here in the building. We want to welcome the principal of North Bronx Empowerment,
Good morning, everyone. So I have been the principal now for my 9th year. I've also seen this building go through many changes and transformation. I was here when this building had 4 schools inside. And I can share the same sentiments that Mr. Bernard has shared around safety. We will have overcrowded classrooms, ineffective gym periods, and unsafe spaces for children just because of the way the space is designed. We've spent a lot of time working on grants and additional funding for spaces like our dance room and our music room that are now in jeopardy because of this possible relocation. And so we're also then really concerned about the partnerships that we have that are in jeopardy because it will be very, very challenging for us to keep those additional services that this community needs with adequate spacing if we don't have the space that we need to be able to provide them.
Who are we? Leaders of tomorrow. Who are we? North Bronx Empowerment. Who are we? New York Edge. Who are we? Our brothers keeper. Who are we? Our sisters keeper. Who are we? Bronx Yep. Who are we? Richard Green. Who are we? What their team. Now we want to hear from the students who do come out each and every day. We get educated by all the adults. And we got to give a thank you and shout out to all our teachers who come out each and every day to make sure our students get educated. Our first speaker we want to bring up today, he's from Leaders of Tomorrow. He's also the Public Relations Officer of the Bronx Youth Empowerment Program. Let's give it up for Akeem Buchanan. Let's go.
Hello everyone, my name is Akeem Buchanan. I'm the Public Relations Officer for the Bronx Youth of Empowerment Program, YEP. I'm 12 years old, in 7th grade, and I've been in this school for 2 years now. Today I'll be stating reasons why having a charter school in Leaders of Tomorrow and North Bronx Empowerment would be inadequate. First, I'll be starting off by saying the Bronx Youth of Empowerment Program, YEP, is a youth organization that has served the Bronx for 17 years. During these times, we have produced the growth of many individuals from the ages 11 to 18. Adding on to that, as a student of LOT, I depend on the after-school resources to keep me active and engaged and focused, which builds further character development. And I know this is the case for every student that engages in after-school activities. Living in the Bronx, we are faced with many challenges, such as crime and violence, health inequality, and homelessness, etc. With these being the reasons that putting a K through 4th grade charter school in the building would not help our school or community. Personally, I believe it would also make the children's education here a lot more difficult and unorganized.
Our next student we're going to bring up to speak is from North Bronx Empowerment. And I want to ask them to say, Hadi Sama, Chalo, come on up. Come on out here.
My name is Rebecca. My name is Katie. And we're here to speak on Success Academy trying to come into the building. This building has been up for many, many years, as I know, and there's a lot of memories created. I know there's alumni that work here and still coming here. And Success Academy is gonna take a lot of stuff away from us. They're providing their kids for more academic studies, but they're gonna be taking away our academic studies. And we're gonna have a lot less things, and we have all the things that we need to enter to high school, and the Success Academy coming, it's gonna take that away. Success Academy was becoming
you got a little taste of what the fire and ice was out there, because it was cold that morning. But our young students stood up because this was a day of civic action for them to actually engage and be a part of the process of how they maintain their school building, how they maintain their resources, how they are engaged. Because you know what I always say, people pay attention to people participate. So we're thankful and grateful for all these young people participating. More important, the leader of the building, Principal Bronack, who's joining us this evening. Let's welcome Principal Joseph Bronack in the King Talk this night. Welcome in. How you doing, Mr. Principal?
Andy, and thanks for organizing everything for the rally for us, and just being an amazing supporter of the school and the community as always.
Well, we appreciate that. And I know while we were standing out there talking, getting a feel for what was going on, the emotions were running high. How did you feel about that day as the kids were speaking?
It's just powerful that they're able to express their views so clearly. I think the message of loss and their worry of what's going to happen for them, but also for all the students who come behind them, just speaks volumes to who they are and who they can be if they're invested in the right way. So hearing the students speak about both what happens for them in the campus and what will potentially be lost as a result of this proposal, I think those are the voices that matter the most.
Mm-hmm. When we talk about some of the things that might be lost, what are some of the things that are on the table that's being discussed if this campus plan of trying to just relocate and co-locate and all this? Talk to our viewers about this.
Sure. So the original proposal that they gave us had Success Academy in North Bronx sharing the second floor, and North Bronx and Leaders of Tomorrow being on the third floor. And that proposal just creates all sorts of safety issues based on the design of the building. What we were able to do was really figure out how, if this proposal goes through, we could isolate each school on one floor of the building. But in order to make sure that the building's safe, what is potentially lost for both the students of Leaders of Tomorrow and North Bronx School of Empowerment is the library would be turned into classroom space for Success Academy. The band room would likely be a classroom for them. The dance room, which is just being completed, would also have to be turned over. All of these spaces on the first floor, in order to create safe spaces, would have to be given to the charter school in order to maintain that environment in the school building. Additionally, the first floor cafeteria would likely have to be used in order to serve the students of the charter school, leading to either shared lunch periods across grades or shared lunch periods across schools for the two middle schools on the second floor cafeteria. So there's a lot of enrichment spaces lost, a lot of access to libraries. The library would likely be moved to a classroom space upstairs instead of the beautiful space that taxpayers have paid for up to this point. And just a loss of extra space on a campus that doesn't have much space. We're the only campus in District 11 that doesn't have a playground attached to it. And there just really isn't a space for students to get the recreation. So it's just putting more students into a tighter space, which obviously has detrimental impacts for them.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned it, because when we talk about our schools and having a school environment, every child should have the right. And I remember in the council, one of the things we passed something, I put that every elementary school and middle schools must have a dedicated library, because we were learning that they didn't have it by the rules. It was always in there, but it wasn't dedicated. So we passed the law, so making sure it's dedicated. So if the library is supposed to be one of the greatest epic centers in a building for learning, how do we take it away? How do we chop it down? How do we make a classroom into a library? All the students that are in your building, no one can sit in the classroom when the library is supposed to be. The library is supposed to be an experience when you walk in there. Not just say something I'm going through to get through the day. It's supposed to be an experience. You go to the library and you relax, you cool out, you learn, you read, you get. Well, I know they ain't got the floppy disk no more. They got little MP3s. but it's an experience of just people get camaraderie and everybody learning together in such an environment. If there was something that you can say to prevent them from taking that space, what would it be?
Yeah, I mean, it's a matter of how the building's designed. I mean, it's a beautiful space that our librarian, Miss Wright, has put together, and is open for our students during the lunch times. Like it's a critical space in terms of access to books and the investments that have been made across both schools to fill it with culturally relevant texts. Texts that reach students, texts that help our students who struggle with reading. We've recently brought in a lot of text to support the immigrant families that we've seen come into our school building. So really trying to serve both the students and the families. But in terms of the space that they're demanding from our school, like the only way to have a space that's safe is to try and maintain the schools on individual floors. And that's what we've had to prioritize as principals, unfortunately. And so the only way you can make that happen is by giving them enough classroom spaces that they can serve the K through 4th grade students that they're proposing bringing onto the campus, unfortunately. So it's a matter of competing priorities around safety and access, and we'll do our best to figure out how we create a similar space, but it absolutely won't be that beautiful space that you talk about. And it's hard when you think about the demands that are being put forth both by the city council as well as the DOE, like having a staffed library in a school building, and that being a priority, but then not providing the access to that within our community schools is something that just doesn't match up.
You touched on something in regards to, and I know it's going over people's heads, but you talk about they want to bring in a K to 4 school, and you already have a number of adolescents, and we know adolescents bring a whole lot of different energy within itself. Now, while they may be on a different floor than any given Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, there's going to be that mixing of that population. Someone's going to go down the wrong staircase. Somebody's going to want to go up a staircase. But even at the end of the school day, when children get discharged from school or trying to get into school, I know you have done your best to go through different entrances, but I guess got to go back in time. There was a moment in time where we walked into a school building. It was okay for everybody to walk into the front of the school building. White people got to walk through the side, the back, the left, the right, because you just broke it up in such that the school community is not a school neighborhood within itself.
And to me, that's the biggest problem with this proposal. Like, Success Academy is not a good partner for a community school. They are out to take spaces that they can serve their group of students. And it tends to be a very narrow group of students that they're successful with. But they're not interested in participating in the community schools initiatives that have helped us transform this. They're not interested in participating in the mentoring programs. They're very much of coming in and looking to take the space that they want and making it their own, and then isolating that space within the building, rather than trying to be a community partner.
Well, with that being said, if they don't want to be a community partner, then maybe they need to stay where they feel that they are comfortable with being with other community, because our community up here, we're building our community. We never was broken as a community. We just had our challenges, and we're saving ourselves without ourselves. So we don't need anybody disrupting that program or that plan. But right now I'm at halftime of King Talk Tuesdays, where we take a little break. As a former basketball player, I got to get my stretch on. Got to make sure the jumper still works, I know you as a runner got to make sure you don't pull no hamstrings.
Absolutely.
So, but this moment in time, we just want to say, we want to thank everybody again. Let them know you are watching King Talk Tuesday, the show with real views, real news, and real talk. We're going to be right back on King Talk Tuesdays right after a break from our friends from Good Neighbors.
Good Neighbors Community Outreach Agency provides programs that help community residents improve their lives and support their families. Are you in need of food, clothing, employment, or a home? We also provide immigration services and passport renewal.
Hi, I'm Pastor Glad.
And I'm Lady D.
We're here to serve you.
Need help? Ask us.
You can reach us by calling 718-652-3288 or visit us at gncdcny.org.
Oh, yeah, we want to thank our friends and good neighbors for all they've done to feed the people, clothe the people, shelter the people, and preach to the people. So to Pastor Pierre and Pastor Glad and Lady D and all the crew there, we say thank you, we thank you, and we thank you. But we're at halftime of King Talk Tuesday, the show with real views, real news, real talk. We're having a community conversation, but you know what I always share during this moment in time? It's been rough for the globe. It's been rough for a lot of us who are spiritual. It's been rough for people who are not spiritual. But I just ask everyone in this moment in time, find your center. Find that centerpiece that allows you to be stable. You know, for me, it's the Most High in Christ. And I believe, you know, when you believe in a higher power, some of the things that we walk through in this world doesn't matter as much as we think they do. So whatever you can do to make somebody's life that much more better, please do so. Offer a handshake, offer a smile, offer a friendly gesture, offer a little bit of love today to somebody that you do know, because it's easy. I mean, you don't know, it's easy to love somebody that you do know. So for all of our neighbors, our communities, our friends, our enemies, our frenemies, let's say a prayer for everybody that may the Most High in Christ continue to walk with us, talk with us, makes us strong, and allows us to forgive the things that we've done to ourselves that might in turn hurt others. We do that, we're better together. Jesus Christ, I pray. Amen. So before we get back to our guest that we have, we got a couple of shout outs we got to give out. I'm looking over here in the chat. I see all the Toya Reed Paynes tuning in. She's saying we have a hard time keeping two schools separated now. Putting a charter school in the building would make it that much more difficult to keep them apart. Thank you for your comments, Sister Reed. We know that you're dedicated and being in the school yourself, you do understand. Also, I see we got Michelle DeWitt is saying blessings to the young people because the young people were speaking. Thank you. Thank you for that. And of course, Latoya Regans tells Buck. Oh, Buck was speaking. I had to give him a shout out. I had to give Buck a shout out for taking the mic and speaking. I call him Akeem the Dream because we know he got flavor and favor in his side. So with that being said, we're going to get back to the show because Pretty Takey says, keep our school. That's the message of the day. Just keep our school. Just keep our school. We'll keep our school. We'll keep our school. Well, again, for y'all, you're tuning in again to King Talk Tuesday, the show with real views, real news, real talk. We're every Tuesday at 8 p.m. on Facebook as well as our YouTube channel. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, King Talk Tuesdays. Please subscribe. And if you have a thought, comment, or concern, you can send us a chat right now in the Facebook chat or our YouTube chat. For those of you who don't know, if you missed today's show, you can always follow us and on Roku TV, Prime Television, Millennium 24. But we also air on Optimum Channel 70 and Fios 2136 on Thursday evenings at 10:30. We're going to get back to any questions anybody might have, but you can send it to kingtalktuesdays@gmail.com. So we were on with the principal of Leaders of Tomorrow, but we have another guest on, and she showed up to the rally. She's a firecracker, full of energy, full of knowledge, full of wisdom, and always ready to protect our children at any given cost. And I appreciate any mama that does that. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome to King Talk Tuesdays for the first time our sister April Parks. Because what's that Title 1 District Parent Advocacy for the Parent Advocacy Council, and she's the chair. So God bless you and welcome, Sister Parks.
Well,
how you doing?
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh yes, oh yes. So I want to bring the principal back, and so we're gonna just have a little chat for a minute, before time moves forward. But tell us, Ms. Parks, you stood out there and braved the elements and talked about what are some of the challenges that you see that we can fix as a community school.
Well, the challenges we can fix as a community school with LOT and NBE together is to make sure that, because we're empowering our leaders of tomorrow, we are making sure that our children are getting the education that they deserve. They have this awesome staff in that building that is working with each and every one of them students to make sure that they are met emotional, educational, academically, with mentoring and everything that they can do. And I watch them work so diligently to make sure our students are successful in their educational future.
So I got to ask now, you are the president now of the Title I District advisory. Explain that to our viewers. What is that exactly? Is that?
Okay. I'm currently the Community School District 11 Title I District Parent Advisory Council Chair. I is the voted in representative for 66 schools across District 11. That is from K to 12. I represent all federal dollars that is come down through the state that is now put into our district funding to go into the schools. We as parent leaders for Title I, we make sure that the funding is spent correctly, that the children are getting their services, their AIS services, which is academic intervention services. We make sure that enrichments are done in the building. We make sure that the programs, the curriculums that come into each and every one of our schools are programs that are approved, programs that have worked, programs that show that they help students to get improvement to make sure that they can meet the standards of the educational system. At the end of the day, we are the power behind. We are part of the federal legislation of 1965, signed by President Johnson, to represent all children that are needed in areas that are considered of poverty, low income, children that just need extra services and extra support. That is my position. I am just an advocate all around to make sure that our communities get what they need. The parents get the support and services and the resources to be able to be the best parents that they can be, with helping, partnershiping with the school to make sure that our children are successful. We don't want to accept, like they say, adequate education or maybe meaningful. We know our children expect high expectations we have for our children. We know our children are smart. We know that they are brilliant. We know that they are intellectual. We just got to make sure that we continue to support them and don't allow another system to rob Peter to pay Paul and take away space from our children to be able to have their building, to be able to utilize it in the way that is needed for them.
Oh, I like that. I like that. You touched on a few things, and I want to double back to one of the things that you mentioned. All of us here are parents. And so the question I have to ask that comes in, how is parent engagement going to be part of this process? Clearly, we want to save the school from being a hostile takeover that possibly could happen. So how are the parents feeling about this? How have you been engaged with the parents in this process?
Well, many of the parents, because when we found out concerning the situation about a month and a half ago, because they usually do not allow us to have long enough time so we can be able to get together. So a lot of the parents was very upset. They are disappointed. They just like me, you're downright angry, of the space that they're doing and what they're trying to do to our children to make somebody else's system a little bit better. The parents we're coming together with the actions that we'll be taking also. But it's a hurtful thing that a system that's supposed to be working together to help our students and help our children is a system, like you said during a rally, that is pinning us against each other, pinning our children against each other. They should not be competing against each other. They should be supporting and working and growing together. But our parents are very upset, and they're ready to stand, and we're ready to march, and we're ready to raise our voices, because our children and the students of MS 113 campus is very important to us.
Well, with that being said, Mr. Principal, talk to us. How is Leaders of Tomorrow in the North Bronx partnering together to make sure that parents are in sync? Because, when you have two different schools, parents can be thinking differently. But how are you guys building this coalition within the building, which I know has been built, to engage the parents to say, okay, even though my child is on the second floor and someone else's child on the third floor, it doesn't mean that we don't work together. How's that conversation rolling itself out?
Absolutely. So, I think one of the most distasteful parts of this has been the listening tours that the DOE put together, where there was basically unanimous voice against the proposal going forward, from parents, from teachers, from administrators. So The schools have come together to have joint SLT meetings to speak about our concerns with this proposal. And then going forward, we'll be looking to leverage our partnerships with community schools to make sure that we get a good parent turnout for both the joint public hearing, which is likely to be in early January, and then the ultimate meeting where the decision is made at the panel on educational policy, which will be on January 25th. So we will be working tirelessly to make sure that we get in touch with parents, that we make sure that we do everything possible to provide parents the support, whether it's childcare, whether it's getting busing to the various meetings, just really trying to figure out how we can support the parents so that their voices are heard. Because the current setup of how this is done doesn't work well for the families of our students.
Now, you mentioned something there about making sure that the families, the parents are well within the community and everybody's supported within the community. Is there a plan? And I know I'm probably part of that plan as one of your Project Pivot CBOs in the building, but how do we engage those outside of the building to understand what's happening inside the building, Mr. Principal?
Yeah, so I mean, it's a lot of it has been outreach to politicians. So we've reached out to the city councilmen, we've reached out to our state senator, our state assemblyman, and are working with both our current elected Congressman Bowman, as well as trying to reach out to Congressman Torres to get them to advocate for this, for supporting the turning over of this proposal. Because it's the voices that get to them that are then heard by the mayor and chancellor. So getting individual voices to the mayor is a difficult thing, but if we can rally the voices of the parents, of our students to our elected officials, they can have impact in a way collectively through those elected officials that can have a much greater impact on potentially stopping this proposal from moving forward.
Sister Parks, your thoughts on that same question before we go into a quick break? We got 2 minutes before we go into a break. Your thoughts?
Okay, just to expand on what Mr. Bernard said, it's not just only our elected officials, but our community-based organizations, our churches, even our stores that our children go to and we purchase things in every day. We need everyone in the community to come together. So we're going to try to get the word out to all so that everybody can show up. They can voice their opinions about how this will affect also their business, because a lot of our students go into those stores. A lot of them, our children do things. Sometimes they have them work in the little stores after school and different things like that. Our community-based organizations, our children go to many of the churches in the area. Also, you have community-based organizations or mentoring groups. You have organizations that are there that are resources and for the parents and the families inside that community, that do food pantries, that helps them with getting job readiness and things like that. And we need all of them to stand up because, like Mr. Bernard has said many of times, this is a community school and it is there for the community, not to be separate and not to just set themselves aside, but we have to continue as a whole, our communities to come together. So as well, the words is out there, like Mr. King, you're one of our community-based organizations. You out there all the time, and many other organizations that are out there that we are reaching to, the planning boards, with the educational department, the CEC of District 11. We have our President's Council, which is all of the PTA presidents and the PA presidents across District 11. All of our voices will be there to represent and to support MS 113 and the time that it has.
And with that, we're going to take a break from another youth group that has voices themselves, those young people. We'll be right back on King Talk Tuesday after a word from the Bronx Youth Empowerment Program.
The Bronx Youth Empowerment Program, YEP, is a youth organization that has served the Northeast Bronx for 17 years. During our tenure, we have provided recreational and educational forums that have nurtured the growth of many youth in the community. YEP has also serviced hundreds of youngsters around New York City. YEP's target audience is youth from the age of 11 to 18 with the goal of helping youth become productive adults. YEP provides young people with resources to explore leadership skills, community involvement, and self-development. YEP consists of weekly and bi-weekly informational sessions with guest speakers from professional, political, and entertainment arenas. Also, as a part of community involvement, YEP will host trips to a variety of venues for educational and recreational experiences. As we continue to partner with other local organizations and serve our community, we will strive to unite and develop the youth in our community. The mission of the Bronx Youth Empowerment Program is building mind, body, and community.
Yeah, we building some mind, body, and community up in here.
That is awesome.
Well, we say thank you. 17 years, and as long as the Lord keeps waking us up, I always say lack of funding should not mean lack of service. And then our children need us. When the systems can't figure it out, we still got to hold on. You go back to the times when we were a lot younger, because we're still young now. And nobody can confuse us. We're still young now. Those adults that are around us helped us get it right when we were lost and trying to find our way. So, hey, can't keep it unless you give it away. But we got the last 14 minutes of today's show, and I want to thank y'all both again for joining and talking to us about what's been happening in Richard Green campus. But I want to pivot a little bit. Yeah, no pun intended, project. I'm going to pivot a little bit in regards to the joyfulness that's been happening in the campus, because there's been some good things that has happened. If you leave it up to the media, you're listening to somebody downtown who got an agenda. The building is falling apart. Our kids are broken. And no, that's not the reality of us each and every day. We all have our moments. Adults have our moments. Principal Burnett, talk a little bit about what you inspired for the school year, or with the calendar you're getting ready to flip in about 3 weeks. What happiness and joy you're looking to engage with your children for the next finish of the school year?
So, I mean, one thing that's been coming to the forefront recently is the start of the basketball season, which for our young men is really a highlight of their middle school career. It's the first time where they sort of represent Richard R. Green, or represent Leaders of Tomorrow, or represent North Bronx, and put on that uniform, and it becomes them belonging to something that's beyond just themselves. So the homecoming game for Leaders of Tomorrow kicks off next week. So they're definitely looking forward to that. I think one thing that's happened over the past 3 years is how the two schools have leveraged the two teams together. So while each school has their own team, there's also times when those two teams come together, both to practice, to scrimmage, but also to compete. In some of the bigger tournaments, we take some of our top players from both schools and take them out together. So while there are two schools in the building, it's also coming together and figuring out like how do we celebrate greatness that exists in that space. I think another thing that evolved last year was a bunch of girls came to me and said, "We want a cheerleading team." I'm like, I know nothing about this. They found a faculty member and then recruited other faculty members, and within a really short period of time, they had uniforms. They had 40 girls who were cheering, and I think that's one thing that we celebrate is really like what do the students want, and how do we really create an authentic place where it's not adults saying, hey, this is how school government should function, and sort of placing our sort of perceptions of what should happen on them, but really creating opportunities for them to say, hey, I want a cheerleading team. Let's make that happen. And so really figuring out where those spaces can be is a way that we celebrate that joy and genius that our students bring.
Wow. Well, that's what you talk about, empowering kids, the greatest thing that can happen. And I'll just take a simple moment, like in time with your house, or growing up, and your dad is fixing something, and you as a young boy had an opportunity to sit there and help him fix something, or mom is preparing that little, whatever that meal's in, the sisters are in there helping, or you're helping mom move something around. Just that camaraderie of being a part of the thought process, of seeing something work from the beginning to the end is empowering for our young people. So yes, I thank you. When you talk about they have a say. Of course, I keep it real. They don't have a say on everything. I'm not that guy. Yeah, at 12, you're still trying to figure a whole lot out.
Mhm.
So
That's true.
you guys say on some things, but not on everything. So talk to us, Sister Parks. I know you work through in all these schools. What is the flavor like in the district? You know, we're coming into a season right now where everyone gets happy, and then come January 2nd, we forget why we were happy 2 weeks ago. Talk to us about what that looks like in the district.
Well, in District 11, the one thing that is very unique and special about District 11 is that we are family. We all support each other. When we have a shoulder to lean on, a phone call to call and say, I'm frustrated, I'm upset, or I'm feeling a little depressed. And you have one of our leaders that are sitting in the background and going, you can make it through this. We got this. It's for our kids. And what do you need to be able to have help to be able to get to where you're going to? Like we talk about in this time, you know, after COVID and different things like that, and the financial situations that our families are in. We have a lot of different toy drives that we have. We had food that we had prepared and we give out to our families, especially the new asylum families that we have welcomed in, just like part of the family. Some of the schools, the Matilda Avenue School, PS16 opened up their doors. They cooked meals so to make sure that they can have a Thanksgiving meal, you know, for their families. This is just some of the things that we do in the district. We have parent leaders that, like, once again, we helping with job readiness. We network with each other. Supporting on, you know, empowering parents, encouraging parents, and reminding parents that, you know, something, you are doing an awesome job just by making sure that your child wakes up and that your child is at school every day. You just have to remind each other that we are doing an awesome job. We are special. And that's something about District 11. We have always been. I've been in this district for over 32 years. And it has been the same. And even with a little bit of change, but our relationships never change.
Wow.
So with that being said, is that I just tell everyone just to stay encouraged at this time of the year. Lean on. Don't worry about what you don't have. Worry about the blessings that you do have. And you will feel so much more positive about the outcome of what you have and what your family can do and what you can bring to the community.
Wow. I got to stop you right there now. You just said what you can bring to the community. First question I got to ask you, said you've been here for 32 years. I don't know how you pulled off when I thought you was only 29, but that's another conversation.
That's a good one.
But President Kennedy said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. So I always ask everyone today, not only ask what the community can do for you, but what can you do for your community? The community is who we are. We act like community is some foreign entity that comes in and puts this cloud over and takes care of us. We are strong as our weakest link. So when do our parents, and I'm not saying they are not, any parent don't get it wrong. I'm just asking for all our parents to look at the community being a village. I remember the days, you know, if I was out of line, my neighbor could correct the behavior that we knew that was wrong. Today, we choose to correct that our parents act like our kids don't make mistakes, and we know they make mistakes. You know, and if we don't have that community, that enabling conversation with each other before something is wrong, you get bothered when I have to say something to your child when something when you know it truly is wrong, and you could end up protecting not only your child's life, you can protect somebody else's child's life, or somebody who had nothing to do with anything's life, because you was able to slow somebody's other energy down because they were out of pocket for that minute. And you know, these kids today, God bless them, I always say they've lost 2 years of development. And those 2 years of development, now you got 16-year-old boys who are technically still 14 and a half in their brain, but their bodies are as big as 16 and 17-year-olds. You got 11-year-olds who are still a 9-year-old, you know, but and they go quick from 0 to 10. And I understand what's in the middle of slowing that down, so you don't hurt yourself, because there's something called conflict resolution. But if you lost those 2 years of camaraderie and interaction and learning social skills, we get a lot of extra energy. I'll put it that way. You get a lot of extra energy.
That's true.
We roughly got about 5 minutes left, so I want to give both of you an opportunity, you know, a minute to share something that you want to say to the children who are listening, the teachers that are listening, the parents who are listening, the neighborhood who's listening? I'm going to start with you, Sister Parks, and I'm going to end it with you, Mr. Principal. Sister Parks, final words.
Okay. Just to be able to give a little bit of understanding of more how serious this is with the charter school system taking space in our schools, is they only pay $1 rent per year. They also get extra money within their per pupil funding that they do get. They get money for the child actually being in the building. They get the money for any support that has to go in the school building. So they're getting money to have go towards their renting and their leasing. And it is not fair that they only can spend $1 in someone's school and take over all this space that we just fighting for just to get Wi-Fi connected and different things that we need to make sure that our children are doing. We have services, you have mentoring service like the Author Project, you have the Astor Group, you have Montefiore that's in there that needs rooms that to be able to work with our children individually to give them that help and that support, to do group sessions with our children to build independency and confidence. And just to have those spaces being taken away by a system that has enough money to purchase their own buildings. And then they blackmail the DOE by saying, if you don't give us this space, now you got to pay for my space outside of any other place that I want to go to. Or when you want to come in my building, which they lie about this one, is they say, oh, well, I'm going to match my funds to be able to help upgrade your school to match what I upgrade. And guess what? The money never comes in. The DOE has taken up that portion of it because the law didn't make it specific who's supposed to pick up that fund. So the DOE just decided to pick up that fund. But that means now double the amount of the money is taken out of our budget to cover a charter school to come into a DOE school. And where DOE schools, we welcome every child in. You don't have every child to be able to work with them. Unfortunately, Success Academy and some of the other charter schools, they take the top of the crop. They take the child that reaches into level 3s and 4s to prove that they say that they make success with their children. And the ones that are 1s and 2s, we find ways to be able to alleviate them or force them to leave their schools because now they feel that they don't have the services to help their children, especially our IEP students.
Yeah, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. We're running.
It's okay, no problem. I just wanted them to know that's really.
We got to bring you back and do this again. We got.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
You got the last 30 seconds. Talk to us.
I'm just gonna say, like you quoted JFK earlier, and I think while we do have extra space in the building, let's come together as a community and really talk about like what can we do more, like ask us to do more, whether it's serving the community with a K-8, it's serving the community with expanding one of the schools to be a high school and early college and building out our adult ed program to serve the community that way. If we can stop this, there are ways that we can dream and really make Richard R. Green a continued space that serves the community, that expands what we can provide. But we've got to get this proposal off the table before we can move forward with any of those things. And I thank you for the platform tonight and for your continued advocacy for the campus.
Well, thank you.
And PEP, vote no in January.
Vote no. Vote no. Save our school as it is. Thank you, gentlemen and ladies. Thank you for joining us tonight on King Talk Tuesdays. But as we do on every King Talk Tuesday, we end every show with a scripture. Tonight's scripture reads from Isaiah 9, verses 6 and 7. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his government and the peace there shall be no end, upon the throne of David and upon his kingdom, to order it and to establish it with judgment and with justice from henceforth, even forever. The zeal of the Lord of hosts will perform this. If no one told you today, God loves you, and so do I. Your friend, your brother, and your neighbor, Andy King. Peace.